Imagine a country losing its economic engine overnight. Imagine a new nation born in the heart of North America landlocked, burdened with a $200 billion debt, and locked in a legal battle with its neighbors on day one. This isn't a what-if movie. It's January 2026, and Canada is at a breaking point. Following the 2025 federal election, the Alberta question has moved from the fringes of the internet to the floor of the legislature. As of this month, a formal petition for a separation referendum is officially circulating across the province. For some, it's a freedom movement to save Alberta's wealth. For others, it's an economic suicide mission. Today, we're putting aside the slogans to look at the math, the law, and the maps. What would an independent Alberta actually look like? And would Canada even survive it? The why, the 2025 spark into the fair deal. Why now? The fire was fueled by the 2025 federal election, with a fourth consecutive Liberal victory. Many Albertans felt the Ottawa overreach on carbon caps and resource regulation reached a point of no return. Historically, the argument centers on equalization. Since the 1960s, Alberta has been a have province, often contributing billions more to the federal pot than it receives back. Separatists argue that keeping that money could fund world-class healthcare and eliminate provincial debt. But it's not just about money, it's about sovereignty. Just think of the Alberta sovereignty within a United Canada Act. This is what analysts call slow-motion separation. Even without a referendum, Alberta is currently building the plumbing of an independent state. The Alberta Sheriffs. The province is rapidly replacing the RCMP with a provincial police force to remove federal interference in law enforcement. The pension power play. The government is pushing for an Alberta pension plan. They claim a $334 billion share of the Canada Pension Plan, a move that would be the largest transfer of wealth in Canadian history. The wall of reality. Let's look at the hard numbers. Every political economist in 2026 sees three massive obstacles for an independent Alberta. 1. The landlocked dilemma. Alberta is landlocked. Currently, it relies on federal law to force pipelines through other provinces. If Alberta becomes a foreign country, those protections vanish. It would have to negotiate trade deals with a potentially hostile Canada just to get its oil to the ocean. Economists estimate this trade friction could cost the Alberta economy $130 billion over the next decade. 2. The divorce bill. Who gets the house? Canada's national debt is currently projected at $1.6 trillion. If Alberta takes its 12% share, roughly $190 billion, its debt-to-GDP ratio would skyrocket from the lowest in Canada 9% to over 50% overnight. 3. The oil roller coaster. Alberta's 2026 budget relies heavily on oil. With prices currently hovering around $60 a barrel, the province is already looking at a $6.5 billion deficit. An independent Alberta would have no federal backstop. If oil prices dip further, the new nation would face immediate, massive austerity cuts. 4. The treaty problem. Most of Alberta sits on Treaty 6, 7, and 8 lands. Indigenous leaders have been clear. Their treaties are with the British Crown and the Canadian state, not a new Republic of Alberta. Without Indigenous consent, a sovereign Alberta would face legal challenges that could freeze all resource development indefinitely. What happens to Canada? If Alberta leaves, Canada doesn't just lose a province, it loses its balance. The fiscal gap, Ottawa, would lose its biggest net contributor, leading to tax hikes or service cuts across the remaining provinces. The geographic split, British Columbia would be physically cut off from the rest of the East, creating a geographic divide that is notoriously hard to govern. However, there is a middle path. Transactional federalism. We're already seeing this in the 2026 Memorandum of Understanding on Energy. Alberta stays in Canada but acts more like a super-province with control over its own immigration, taxes, and police. Similar to Quebec's special status, the moment of truth, the October referendum. So, is Alberta actually leaving? Current 2026 polling is split. One survey shows support at 19%, while another suggests it's as high as 31%, especially among younger voters who feel the Canadian dream is broken. The pro-independence petition has until May 2nd to gather 177,732 signatures. If it succeeds, we could see a referendum as early as October 2026. The real lesson here isn't about borders. It's about representation. A country only works if every part of it feels like the deal is fair. The Alberta question has already changed Canada forever. It's forced us to ask, who holds the power and who pays the bills? What do you think? Is Alberta better off free? Or is the cost of the divorce too high for everyone? Let's talk in the comments.